everyone, it is me, LightFeather, your goodest friend, known for his amazing sense of grammar. Okay, so this week on StoryFeather, I will be telling you about the mentor I had in 9th grade. So in the Netherlands it would be 3rd class, but in American standards it would be 9th grade, yeah. Okay, so in the classes on high school and middle school, which is the one thing in our country, you have a mentor, which is basically your... what would you call that again in American standards? Like a homeroom teacher? Eh? But anyway, our mentor was a biology teacher, and it was a woman. I will not be revealing her name because of privacy and stuff, but it was pretty interesting. Okay, so I started that year 1 week later than everybody else because I was recovering from a pretty serious lung infection, which had, you know, put me in the hospital and stuff and nearly killed me and things like that, yeah. So okay, so one of the first things she said to me was that I shouldn't eat sugar for a month, and I was like, hey, because together with biology she also studied homeopathy, and so she, you know, suggested I shouldn't eat sugar for a month, and I was like, no. But anyway, one of the first things she had us do in that first period of time was a lung capacity test. Needless to say, I really failed that one. But that's not really our fault or anything, but later on special things started happening, because personally I was really good at biology. Yeah, biology was a thing I was really good at. I even considered studying it for a while. So I pretty much aced every test. And at some point she asked us to write a report on anything, but didn't give us a card which said which features the report needs to have, which we always got, but she was just like, write a report on that! So we were all like, okay. So then we all failed that report. So she was like, you all failed it, you're so bad at this! And we were like, but miss, you didn't even tell us what needed to be put in it. So we had a do-over, and she gave us, you know, the features it needed to have in it. Except for 2 people, we all failed it again. This was my only unsatisfactory the entire year. But more special things started to happen later on. At some point she stopped wearing shoes in class, and at some point she spent the entire class talking about aliens. It was pretty funny because someone like mentioned aliens and crop circles, and she was like, crop circles! And we spent like 50 minutes watching images of crop circles on Google. The same thing happened when someone mentioned the supernatural, like ghosts. We would spend the entire class watching videos about ghost appearances. Okay. I mean, don't understand me wrong, I believe in all that, but why spend your entire class on that? So basically, whenever we didn't feel like having class, we would just like say, ghosts. And she was like, ghosts, yes! And we would spend the entire hour watching ghost videos. There was one of my classmates, a girl, who she particularly liked for some reason. I mean, she was really nice and everything, but for some reason she actually liked her better than everyone else. Not that we all blamed her or anything because, you know, she was nice and stuff, but she would really like her. Not like in a liking-like way, but she liked her. So when we would all have our individual conversations, like our talks with the mentor once every 2 months, we were waiting for that girl to come out of hers, and she walked out like this. And our teacher would walk with her like... And the teacher walked away, and she was like, the thing she told me! And we were like, what do you mean? She told me about her first sexual intercourse with a man! What? Yeah! Why? Don't know. Okay. From time to time she would say like really weird stuff in class, like, you know, in the past I used to take a shower naked in my garden with a hose, but yeah, if you do that nowadays people will just look at you weirdly. And we were all like, okay. And one day, because it was biology and everything, we had to dissect a pig's heart. This wasn't something I particularly liked doing, but you know, yeah, you were all obligated and stuff. But anyway, like I always do, except for now, I wore my hoodie. But in the past, I didn't wear anything underneath my hoodie. Yeah, you know, do I have one here? No. It's like like a tank top kind of thing, but a small one, just to keep my torso warm. But, you know, I always kept my hoodie zipped up because that's not something you wear without anything over it. It's just for warmth. It just looks weird. But the day we dissected a heart, she was like, okay, you guys get your lab coats. And she said, Quentin, you should take off your hoodie. And I was like, I'm not really wearing anything underneath it. Yeah, but you still should take off your hoodie. Yeah. What? Yeah, just take it off and put on the lab coat. Okay, so I did. I was like, okay, lab coat on. Alright, okay, it's good. So after dissecting the heart, I asked her, can I wash my hands here? Because in that classroom had a sink. She was like, no, do it in the toilet, which was across the hall. And I was like, okay, so I walked over there and she's like, leave the lab coat here. So I had to go without a shirt. I was like shirtless. I ran through school like, nah, and there were all those people and were like, why isn't he wearing a shirt? And I was like, oh god, this is... I don't actually feel embarrassed easily because, you know, I tape all my weird stuff and put it online, so yeah, I feel quite secure about myself. But that wasn't the situation I particularly liked, actually. Another thing is she would always talk about her kids, who were like grown-ups now, but any situation would make her talk about her kids. Like, for example, mitosis is a situation where a cell duplicates and forms more cells, so an organism can be formed or restored. This is very important for fetuses to be able to grow into a baby. Speaking of babies, my daughter had a baby like 7 years ago, and I told her blah, 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 but right now she's doing great because she has a job and a big house and her husband, and she has like 3 kids now, and it would go on for like 10 minutes and we were like, okay, yes, we knew her kids like by name and what they did. We knew their jobs and everything. There was also this girl she didn't particularly like because we were in this classroom. And the next day we would go to like a convention for things. We'd go to a convention and talk to people. Yeah. So she was like, at first she was like, so we are going to talk to people, so you all have to dress nicely. And she pointed at that girl. So don't do that. We were like, whoa, you can't just say that. So that same girl asked her, where exactly is it? And she said, yeah, you know, it's on your form, the address. And she was like, how do we get there from here? Oh, just use Google Maps. But can't you tell me? Well, I could. So you know where it is? Yeah. You know the route? Mm-hmm. Then could you tell us? Nah. Why not? Why don't you just tell me? What? Because, oh, you don't want to do work? She was like imitating her voice, and I don't want to do work. And we were all like, what's happening here? What the heck? And at the end of every 9th grade in the Netherlands, teachers have to go because you have every class in the 9th grade. And after that you may pick which classes you want and which classes you will drop. But because you have all the classes in 9th grade, every teacher will give you a plus or a minus, which indicates if the teachers think you will be able to handle the class. Plus is you can handle it, minus is you can't. So I was having this conversation with this woman. My grade was an 8, which is like good because our grades go from 1 to 10. 10 is like flawless if you've never had a mistake, so that's pretty much impossible. And you know, then it's 9 and then it's 8. So 8 is good. And I was pretty proud of that. So with our conversations, she was talking to me and she was like, I don't know if I should give you a plus. I don't know if you can handle it. And I was like, I had 1 unsatisfactory this entire year and I have an 8, so, I didn't say it because, you know, I was a good student. But in the end, she did give me a plus because she was like, yeah, I'm in between, but yeah, I'll just give you a plus. Later on, I did pick biology and I was like good at it. I was a 7, I think, at the end of my entire year, of my entire school career. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay. So yeah, there were like different things, but after that year, she just like left school. She went back to the old school, which is also part of our school, but it's in a different city. Then in 4th class, so 10th grade, I got a new friend and he was like, wait, her? She taught me on my old school! And I was like, oh my god! So, and she was always a bit special, but you know, there's nothing wrong with being special, but you know, there are things like maybe teaching class would be better. Oh yeah, there's also this thing. We would start the chapter genetics, which was, you know, one of the toughest ones. But I was really good at that because genetics were like my favorite subject. She started the chapter by saying this. This chapter is the hardest chapter of the entire book. Most of you will fail it badly. Like, I don't think any of you will get it right because it's so difficult. It's like super difficult. I think you will all fail this one. And we were like, okay. So yeah, those were basically the things she all did, and you know, oh yeah, and at the end she didn't even fill in the fact that we passed the 3rd year, the 9th grade. So in the end, all of our papers basically say that we never did 3rd grade. We were like, we entered 3rd, but never got it, but did get enrolled into the 4th year. So, okay. This isn't particularly a problem because I got my diploma and everything, but for people who dropped out in the 4th year to go and study already a lower level of education, they needed to have passed the 3rd grade. So they just had to go to people like, show their report cards. I did get the 3rd grade, 9th grade, 3rd year. So yeah, that was a bit of an inconvenience for them. But yeah, it was always... Yeah. Oh yeah, there was this one kid, I'm sorry, I keep on rattling about this. There was this one kid she didn't like, this guy, and he always wanted to be a pilot. And she was like, all for nature and everything, there's nothing wrong with nature. I mean, nature is amazing. But for some reason, it made her hate the fact that he wanted to be a pilot, and that he wanted to be a pilot, like, for years. She was always like, you shouldn't stick with the thing you always wanted. Maybe you should keep an open mind for things you might also want. And he was like, but this is my dream and everything. And she was like, no! So, okay. So yeah, those were basically all the things she did, until I come up with something like right now. Nah, those were basically the things, and it was pretty special. Did you have a teacher like this? So share some of your stories in the comments. So, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, leave a thumbs up. And if you want to see new videos every week, write in your subscription box. I've got a really nice cinematic thing planned for Wednesday. Click on subscribe on the subscribe button on the screen, or on the subscribe button underneath, you know, the screen. Not underneath your entire computer screen, because it would be cool if I could materialize a subscribe button in your room. Also a bit creepy, because I could materialize a lot of things into your room and take over your life. But anyway, click on subscribe if you want to subscribe. And above all, thank you very much for watching again, and I hope you liked it, and see you later, guys.